We've all been told that you can't be happy if you're hurting, that you need to wait for the pain to end, for the wound to close, for the problem to go away. Then you can smile, then you can breathe, then you can feel joy. But let me tell you the truth. Happiness doesn't wait for your life to get easier. It waits for you to get stronger, and strength starts with a decision. Most people spend their entire lives chasing happiness like it's a reward, waiting for them at the finish line. They think, once I get the promotion, then I'll be happy. Once I lose the weight, then I'll feel confident. Once I heal from this heartbreak, then I'll feel peace. But that mindset is a trap. It places your happiness somewhere in the future, on the other side of some obstacle or outcome. The truth is, happiness is not a destination, and it's not something you arrive at after crossing off a checklist of achievements or waiting for time to fix everything. Happiness is a daily decision. It's a moment-by-moment choice, and the people who learn to make that choice, especially when life is painful, are the ones who become emotionally unstoppable. Every day, you wake up, you have two options. You can let life happen to you, or you can happen to life. And that begins with choosing how you're going to feel, how you're going to show up, and how you're going to think. That's where happiness begins. It's not in external circumstances. It's in your mindset. It's in the way you speak to yourself. It's in the way you choose to see your life, even when it's not perfect, even when it hurts. Think about it like this. There are people in the worst circumstances, facing financial stress, going through divorce, dealing with health issues, who still find reasons to laugh, to love, to give, to be thankful. And there are others who have everything: money, success, attention, and still feel empty. Why? Because happiness isn't about what you have. It's about what you decide. It's about what you focus on. It's about the internal dialogue you choose every single day. It's the decision to say, I will not let life steal my joy. That doesn't mean you ignore your pain. Choosing happiness doesn't mean you fake it or bury your struggles. It means you acknowledge the pain and still decide that your joy is non-negotiable. It's you saying, yes, this hurts, but I'm still going to find something to be grateful for. I'm still going to get out of bed and take one step forward. I'm still going to smile at someone. I'm still going to live my life. That's not pretending, that's courage. When you start viewing happiness as a decision, you take your power back. You stop blaming your mood on your past. You stop waiting on other people to make you feel good. You stop letting circumstances control your peace. You stop outsourcing your joy to things you can't control. You realize it's yours to create right now, even if everything around you feels messy. The key is awareness. Every day, pause and ask yourself, what story am I telling myself today? Am I focusing on everything that's wrong? Or am I making space for what's right? Because what you focus on expands. If you focus on your pain, it grows. If you focus on what's missing, that gap feels wider. But if you shift even a little bit to gratitude, to perspective, to presence, you shift your energy, you shift your brain chemistry, you shift your experience. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need to be completely healed. You just need to choose in this moment to reach for joy. Even if it's small, even if it's brief. Even if it's just looking out the window and appreciating the sky, that micro moment of joy is proof that you're in control, that no matter what life throws at you, it can't take away your ability to choose your attitude. People who thrive in life aren't the ones who avoid hardship. They're the ones who choose happiness in spite of it. They choose hope when they could choose despair. They choose forgiveness when they could choose bitterness. They choose growth when they could stay stuck. And it all starts with this simple but powerful truth. Happiness is a decision you make, not something you wait for. So today, choose it. Choose happiness, not because everything's perfect, but because you're done waiting. You're done putting your peace on pause. You're done making your joy conditional. You're done thinking that your life has to look a certain way before you're allowed to feel good. No more. You choose happiness today, in this moment, with everything you have and everything you lack. You choose to smile through the tears. You choose to find peace in the chaos. You choose to show up with love even when your heart is tired. Because that choice, that tiny, quiet, powerful decision, that's how you take your life back. One day at a time. You don't have to wait anymore. You can choose happiness today. And that changes everything. Life is going to hurt you. That's not a possibility. It's a guarantee. You will lose people. You will face failure. You will get blindsided, betrayed, disappointed, and left wondering how it all fell apart. Pain is a part of the human experience. It doesn't ask for your permission. It doesn't show up when it's convenient. It arrives uninvited, and it often overstays its welcome. But here's what you need to understand. While pain is inevitable, suffering is not. You don't get to choose whether or not life hurts you. But you absolutely get to choose how long you stay in that pain. Suffering begins where choice ends. When you decide that because you've been hurt, you can't move forward, when you start believing that the pain you feel now will always define your reality, that's the moment suffering begins, when you give pain more power than it deserves. When you let it become your identity, when you start replaying it like a broken record and telling yourself that because something bad happened, your joy is now off limits. But that's just not true. You are allowed to feel pain, allowed to cry. You are allowed to break down, to fall apart, to not have the answers. But what you're not allowed to do is stay stuck. You're not here to live inside the hurt forever. You are here to move through it. That's what healing is, not erasing the pain, but learning how to carry it without letting it define you. Every time you wake up and choose to keep going, you're choosing life over suffering. Every time you smile, despite what you've been through, you're choosing resilience over victimhood. Every time you speak light into your own darkness, you're refusing to let the pain win. And that choice, that tiny, quiet, powerful decision, is everything. Because choosing happiness when life is easy is not impressive. Anyone can do that. But choosing happiness when you're in the middle of a storm, that's courage, that's emotional strength, that's taking your power back. And the more you practice it, the stronger you become. Not because the pain magically goes away, but because you stop letting it hold you hostage. Here's what most people don't realize. Your mind is not just a mirror reflecting what you feel. It's also a compass directing where you go. If you constantly focus on the pain, the unfairness, the losses, you will stay stuck in them. But if you train your mind to also look for beauty, for hope, for something, anything worth celebrating, you begin to shift. Not all at once, not overnight, but moment by moment, you start to break the cycle of suffering. And no, this isn't about pretending everything's fine. It's not about forcing fake positivity or denying what you're going through. This is about being honest. Yes, I'm hurting, and yes, I'm still going to get up. I'm still going to find something today that makes me feel alive. I'm still going to laugh with a friend, take a walk in the sun, or find peace in silence. I'm still going to believe that my life is more than this one hard chapter. Because pain does not get to tell your whole story. It's a page, not the entire book. And every time you choose to keep writing, to keep moving, to keep believing that joy is possible even here, that's how you reclaim the pen. That's how you make sure the hurt doesn't become who you are. It becomes part of your strength, a memory, not a prison. There will be days when the sadness feels heavier than the happiness. That's okay. Let it come. Let it wash over you. Let it pass through. But don't unpack and live there. Don't start decorating your pain like it's permanent. It's not. You are allowed to feel everything and still decide to move forward. And maybe that's the most important thing you need to hear right now. Forward is always an option. Even if it's just one small step, even if it's just choosing to believe that things can get better, even if it's choosing not to give up on yourself today, that counts, that matters, that breaks the cycle of suffering and begins a new cycle. One of strength, hope, and healing. So yes, pain is inevitable. You will feel it again and again in this life. But suffering, that part is yours to control. You can sit in the pain or you can stand in your power. You can cry through it, breathe through it, walk through it, but you must move through it. Because staying in the hurt doesn't honor the lesson. Choosing happiness does, choosing growth does, choosing to live with intention, with courage, with joy, even in the middle of the hard stuff. That's where real freedom lives. And when you make that choice over and over again, something amazing happens. The pain doesn't disappear, but it starts to lose its grip on you. You begin to feel lighter. You begin to remember who you are. And you begin to realize happiness isn't what happens when life stops hurting. It's what happens when you stop letting the hurt hold you back. When you feel overwhelmed, frustrated, heartbroken, angry, or sad. It's easy to think that something is wrong with you, that something is broken. Here's the truth. There is nothing wrong with having emotions. You are not weak because you feel. You are not broken because you cry. Emotions are not enemy. They are messengers, signals, data points from your internal world trying to tell you what's going on. But here's the mistake most people make. They treat emotions like commands. Like if you're angry, you must explode. If you're sad, you must shut down. If you're anxious, you must run. That's not how this works. Your feelings are real, but they are not always right. Just like pain in your body tells you where to look. Emotional pain tells you where to pay attention. That doesn't mean you obey it. It means you observe it. Think about it. When you touch a hot stove and it burns, you pull your hand away, not because the stove is evil, but because the pain told you, hey, this hurts, stop. That's what your emotions are doing. They're trying to say, pay attention here. Something needs your care, not your panic, not your surrender, just your awareness. You're not supposed to follow every feeling. You're supposed to check in with it. Feelings are like notifications. They tell you something, but it's your job to decide how to respond. If your phone buzzes and says low battery, you don't freak out. You plug it in, you solve the problem calmly. That's what emotional intelligence is. Not avoiding feelings, not suppressing them, just not letting them run the show. And let's get real. Emotions don't always tell you the truth. Sometimes they lie. Sometimes they're reacting to an old story. Sometimes they're triggered by a fear that no longer belongs in your present. Just because something feels true doesn't make it true. You can feel unworthy and still be deeply valuable. You can feel unloved and still be worthy of love. You can feel afraid and still move forward. The moment you start treating your emotions as information, not identity, is the moment your life changes. You stop saying, I am anxious, and you start saying, I feel anxious right now. That tiny shift in language creates space. You are not emotion, you are the observer, and the observer has power. The observer has choice. Every time a difficult emotion comes up, you have a choice: react or respond. Reacting is automatic. It's what most people do. They feel something and let it take the wheel. But responding, that's conscious. That's powerful. That's when you feel the anger and pause before speaking. That's when you feel the sadness and choose not to isolate. That's when you feel the fear and show up. Responding is how you build a life you're proud of, even when it's hard. And here's the part most people forget. Feeling something and acting on it are two different things. You can feel rage and still speak with calm. You can feel doubt and still move with courage. You can feel pain and choose joy. The feelings don't control you. You control how you channel them. This is especially true when life hurts. When you're grieving, betrayed, exhausted, it's so tempting to let the emotions steer the ship, to lash out. Give up, spiral, numb out, and in those moments you must remind yourself your emotions are temporary. They're like weather, they will pass. They always do. You are not your storm, you are the sky. This doesn't mean you ignore your emotions. You honor them, you listen, you validate them, but then you ask yourself, is this emotion helping me become who I want to be? Or is it pulling me away from that? Because that's the key. Your emotion feedback, not fact. Use them, don't be used by them. If you want to grow, if you want to happiness. When life hurts, then you must become someone who can sit with hard emotions without letting them break you. Someone who can say, I feel this pain, but I still get to decide what I do next. That's emotional maturity. That's mental strength. That's how you take your power back. Because here's the truth. The world is not always going to be kind. People will disappoint you. Plans will fall apart. Life will throw punches, but your power is never in controlling what happens. Your power is in how you choose to respond. And that starts with how you handle your emotions. So next time your chest tightens, your stomach flips, your eyes well up, pause, breathe. Ask, what is this emotion trying to tell me then? Thank it for showing up, and choose the action that aligns with the life you want, not the life your fear is trying to protect. You are not your anger. You are not sadness. You are not your panic. You are the one who chooses what happens next. And that right there is your superpower. The human brain is built for survival, not happiness. It's constantly scanning your environment for danger, threats, and problems. This is biology, not personal failure. You're not negative or broken. You're wired that way. Thousands of years ago, it helped our ancestors stay alive. But today, in a world where most of the dangers aren't physical, but emotional stress, insecurity, rejection, failure, this ancient wiring can sabotage our peace. Your mind fixates on what went wrong, what might go wrong, or what isn't enough. And unless you interrupt that pattern, your life becomes a loop of overthinking, comparison anxiety, and dissatisfaction. The default setting of the brain is gratitude. It's survival. That's why you don't automatically wake up feeling joy. You wake up feeling stressed. You wake up thinking about the text you didn't get, the money you don't have, the deadline. You're missing the person who disappointed you. And if you don't catch it, that mindset sets the tone for your whole day. You start seeing everything through a lens of scarcity and frustration. Even the good things feel dull. Even moments of peace feel suspicious. You start bracing yourself for something to go Wrong, because your brain is constantly saying, stay alert, protect yourself, don't relax. And here's the catch, your brain will find exactly what you train it to find. If you're looking for problems, you'll find them. If you're looking for disappointment, you'll find it. If you expect rejection, notice every little sign that confirms your fear. This is called confirmation bias. And it runs your entire emotional life, unless you actively override it. Your brain will always confirm what you consistently believe. So if you believe that nothing works out for you, that life is unfair, happiness is a luxury for other people, your brain will filter your reality to prove that right. Not because it's true, but because that's what it's trained to see. But the power is this: you can retrain it, you can redirect your focus, you can decide to challenge the story. Just because your brain is wired to scan for danger doesn't mean you have to live in fear. Just because your thoughts lean negative doesn't mean your life has to. You get to decide where your attention goes, and where your attention goes, your energy flows. If you want peace, you have to practice peace. If you want happiness, you have to focus on what brings it. This isn't toxic positivity, it's mental conditioning. You can wake up and consciously ask yourself, what's one thing that's going right? What's one thing I'm proud of? What's one thing I'm looking forward to? That simple shift changes your brain chemistry. When you do this consistently, you begin to rewire your default state. You train your mind to look for what's working instead of always assuming the worst. Over time, your nervous system begins to relax. Your anxiety lowers. You stop expecting every good moment to fall apart. You stop feeling like peace is a setup for disappointment. It's going to take effort. It won't feel natural at first. Your brain will fight you because it's addicted to the familiar pattern of stress and fear, but you're not a victim of that wiring. You're not doomed to repeat old mental loops. You can interrupt them, you can pause, you can think better, but it's actually the opposite. The way you think creates the way you feel. If your thoughts are chaotic, your emotions will be too. But if you take control of what you focus on, even for a few minutes a day, you begin to shift your emotional state. It's not instant, but it is real, and it is powerful. Choosing to train your mind to see peace in the middle of chaos, to notice beauty in the middle of pain, is one of the most radical things you can do. It's how you take your power back from fear. It's how you stop being a victim of your past and start creating your future. There will always be something to stress about. Life won't run out of problems, but there will also always be something to appreciate, something to love, something to enjoy. The difference between misery and peace isn't what's happening outside of you. It's what you're choosing to focus on. Your brain will follow your lead. Teach it to see the light. Train it to search for peace. Practice looking for what's good, what's working, what's beautiful. Even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because when you teach your brain to seek peace, you stop reacting to life. You stop responding to it. You stop living in survival mode and start living on purpose. And that's how happiness is built, not through perfect circumstances, but through intentional focus. You don't wait for peace. You train your mind to find it. That's the real work. And you are more than capable of doing it. Gratitude is not some fluffy feel-good idea meant to be scribbled in a journal and forgotten. It's a mental weapon, a tool, a strategy when life feels heavy, when everything feels like it's falling apart. Gratitude becomes a life raft. Most people underestimate it because it sounds too simple to be powerful. But here's the truth. Your brain is constantly scanning for threats, constantly on high alert. It's wired to survive, not to thrive. That means without intentional direction, your mind will naturally drift to what's missing, what's broken, what's wrong. It will replay the argument. It will relive the failure. It will magnify the anxiety. Gratitude interrupts that cycle. It's the reset button your mind doesn't know it needs. The moment you stop and focus on what's right, even if it's just one tiny thing, you begin to rewire your brain. You're telling yourself, yes, I'm in pain. Yes, this hurts, but not everything is terrible. That small acknowledgement is enough to shift your emotional state, because the brain cannot fully process fear or anger and deep gratitude at the same time. It's a neurological clash. One cancels out the other. So if you've been in a spiral of overthinking, self-doubt, emotional chaos, gratitude becomes your way out. It's not a cure-all. It doesn't erase the pain, but it creates space. It loosens the grip of the negativity just long enough for you to catch your breath, to get clarity, to remember that you're more than your problems. And here's the best part. It doesn't have to be profound. People think gratitude has to be big. Your career, your family, your future. No, start with what's real right now. The fact that you woke up today, the coffee in your cup, the roof over your head, The fact that you're here reading this, trying to move forward. Gratitude isn't about ignoring your pain. It's about finding something to hold on to within the pain. It's choosing to see a little bit of light even in a really dark room, because once you find that light, you realize the darkness isn't all there is. Think about the last time you truly felt grateful. Maybe someone helped you unexpectedly. Maybe you had a quiet moment to yourself. Maybe it was just hearing your favorite song in the middle of a chaotic day. Those moments matter. They're not small, they're survival fuel. And when you make it a habit to collect those moments, when you train your brain to look for them, you begin to notice more. The brain works like a search engine. If you keep typing in negativity, that's all it's going to give you. But the moment you start searching for peace, beauty, progress, even the tiniest sense of joy, it starts delivering different results. That's not luck. That's neuroplasticity. That's you taking control. Most people think they'll be grateful once their life improves, but that's backwards. Your life improves because you become more grateful. The more you focus on what's working, the more motivated you feel, the more you appreciate the small wins, the more you stay mentally strong when the big ones take time. Gratitude becomes a filter through which you see everything, and that filter changes your attitude, your energy, your relationships, ability to keep going. When you're in pain, when you're grieving, when life just feels unfair, that's when you need it the most. Because if you don't actively choose gratitude in those moments, your mind will default to bitterness, to why me, to it's not fair, to this always happens. That's the trap. That's what keeps you stuck. Gratitude doesn't fix your circumstances. It frees you from them emotionally. It gives you a sense of power in a situation where you feel powerless. So if you're hurting, don't force yourself to be positive. That's not the goal. Force yourself to be present, to pause, to breathe, and in that breath, ask yourself, what's one thing I can be grateful for right now? It might feel forced at first. It might feel fake. That's okay. Do it anyway. Gratitude is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The stronger it gets, the more naturally it shows up, and before you know it, you've changed your emotional baseline. You're still human. You still feel everything, but you stop living at the mercy of every thought. And every bad day, gratitude becomes your anchor. When the world is spinning, when your mind is racing, when everything feels out of control, you come back to that anchor and it reminds you there is still good here. There is still something worth holding on to. You are still breathing, and when there is breath, there is possibility. Gratitude is how you find peace in the chaos. It's how you choose joy, even when life hurts. If your happiness depends on people acting right, the job going the way you planned, the relationship staying strong, or life unfolding exactly the way you imagined, it will always be fragile. It will always be conditional. It will always be outside of your control. Here's the truth. No one really says out loud. Life rarely goes according to plan. People will disappoint you. Circumstances will shift. The world will throw curveballs you never saw coming. If your emotional peace is tied to things you cannot control, you will always be on an emotional roller coaster. Using happiness means unhooking your joy from everything outside of you. It means you stop saying things like, I'll be happy when, and start saying, I choose to be happy, between happy. Become the person who can walk through storms and still carry your belief that happiness is the result of life being easy. That if things finally fall into place, then they'll breathe, then they'll feel peace, then they'll smile. But that logic keeps people trapped because life never fully falls into place. There's always something uncertain, something uncomfortable, something imperfect. So if you only give yourself permission to be happy when everything is good, you'll rarely experience joy. The mindset shift starts here. Stop outsourcing your happiness. Stop giving people and situations the authority to determine your emotional state. You don't need someone to treat you better for you to feel worthy. You don't need the job to validate your identity. You don't need a relationship to feel love. These things can add to your happiness, but they should never be the source of it. The source has to come from within you, from your perspective, your choices, your beliefs. Imagine someone waking up every morning thinking, I hope today goes well, so I can feel good. That person is placing their emotional well-being in the hands of everything they can't control. Now imagine someone who wakes up and says, no matter what happens today, I'm going to find something good. I'm going to be kind to myself. I'm going to look for what's right. That person is choosing empowerment. That's what happiness is. It's not surface level positivity. It's a deep decision to anchor your peace within yourself. One of the most powerful things you can learn is that your feelings don't always have to match your situation. You can be in a tough moment and still laugh. You can be in the middle of grief, still feel gratitude. You can be heartbroken and still decide to move forward with hope. This isn't denial, it's resilience. It's deciding that you won't be a passive victim of your environment. You get to choose the energy you carry, even if the world around you is chaotic. And when you stop tying your happiness to circumstances, something amazing happens. You become more present. You stop waiting for some future event to feel alive. You start noticing the small joys, the sunlight on your face, a quiet moment, a good song, a breath of peace. You start becoming grateful for things you used to ignore, and gratitude is a gateway to joy, not because everything is perfect, but because your focus is aligned with the things that actually meant. Look, it's normal to want life to go well. It's human to want connection, success. There's nothing wrong with desiring those things. But when your happiness depends on them, you put yourself in emotional chains, and the key to freedom is in your pocket. It's your decision to stop saying, I'll be okay when, and start saying, I'm okay now, even while I work through this. You can love your life and still want more. You can accept where you are and still aim higher. But you don't have to put your happiness on hold. You don't have to wait for the healing to finish, the money to come, the people to change. You can choose to smile today. You can choose to breathe deeper, to be kinder to yourself, to find one thing that brings you peace. Choosing happiness in an unpredictable world is one of the most rebellious things you can do. It's you saying, I don't need everything to go my way to live a good life. And when you own that power, when you live from that space, nothing can take it from you, because it's not conditional anymore. It's yours, built by you, protected by you, fueled by your mindset and your courage. That's what choosing happiness really means. You don't have to fix everything before you feel joy. That idea, the one that says you need to get it all together before you're allowed to be happy, is one of the biggest lies we've been taught. Life doesn't hand you happiness like a reward at the finish line. It invites you to find it right where you are, in the middle of the heartbreak, in the middle of the disappointment, in the middle of the mess. Healing and happiness are not two separate lanes. They run side by side, and they can walk together if you let them. You might think happiness has to wait until you've processed the pain, until the grief fades, until the anxiety goes away. But here's the truth. Healing isn't a straight road. It doesn't come with a schedule. And if you keep postponing happiness until everything feels right, you'll spend your whole life waiting for the apology, waiting for the peace, waiting for something to change before you give yourself permission to smile. And that's not living, that's surviving. Yes, pain is real. What happened to you may not be fair, and it may not be your fault. But healing starts when you choose to stop giving pain the front seat. When you stop building your identity around it, you can acknowledge it, respect it, and still decide not to let it steal the next moment of your life. You can be both broken and beautiful. You can cry and still laugh 5 minutes later. That doesn't make you fake. It makes you human. A lot of people think if you're happy while you're healing, then maybe you're not really hurting. That's not true. You can honor your pain and still refuse to let it define you. You can miss someone and still enjoy your day. You can be anxious and still take the next step forward. These things are not contradictions. They're courage, because it takes incredible bravery to feel joy while you're still holding pieces of yourself together. You don't need to smile after it's over. You can smile while you're getting through it. That's not disrespecting the process. That's taking your power back. You don't need to wait till you've lost the weight, landed the job, left the toxic relationship, proven something to anyone. If you wait for the perfect time to feel good, you'll miss every imperfect moment that still had something beautiful in it. Joy is not only reserved for the healed, it's for the ones who show up anyway, the ones who say, this hurts, but I'm still going to find a reason to be grateful. Today, it's for the people who get knocked down but still reach for something positive before bed. It's for you, the one who's trying, who's tired, who's healing in silence, but still believes there's something better ahead. You were allowed to feel joy even if you cried last night. You were allowed to laugh even if the ache in your chest hasn't gone away. You are allowed to experience light even when you're surrounded by dark thoughts. Choosing joy doesn't mean you're ignoring your pain. It means you're refusing to let your pain run the show. You're not escaping, you're expanding, you're making room for more than just sadness. Don't wait to celebrate the little things. Don't wait to feel good about yourself. Don't wait until the healing is done before you do the things that make you come alive. Go on the walk, dance to that song, write the poem, light the candle, text your best friend something silly, laugh at the meme, smile at a stranger. These aren't distractions from your healing. They're fuel for it. These moments are what remind you that there's more to life than what hurt you, and when you gather enough of them, you build a new story for yourself. One that says, I've been through it, but I didn't let it take away the light in me. And here's something else, happiness doesn't have to be loud. It can be soft, quiet, subtle. It's that one moment where your chest feels a little less heavy, the deep breath where something shifts. Second, when you realize you haven't thought about the pain in 5 minutes. That's healing too, that's joy, showing up in the cracks of your brokenness, reminding you that light still gets in. So stop waiting, stop telling yourself that you're not there yet, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. Learning how to carry both hope and heartache in the same hands. Let both exist, let happiness walk beside the pain, and know this: just because you're still healing doesn't mean you're not allowed to live. Let happiness be part of your healing, not the reward at the end, but the companion through, because joy is not the finish line, it's the medicine that helps you get there. Choosing happiness is often misunderstood. People assume it means ignoring reality, pretending everything is fine, or avoiding the tough emotions that come with being human. But choosing happiness isn't about denial. It's about defiance. It's about standing in the middle of a storm and refusing to let the wind carry away your spirit. It's about staring at your pain, acknowledging it, and still saying, I will not let this define me. It's strength, it's power, and it's a choice you can make every single day, even when life hurts. There are days when getting out of bed feels like a victory, when the weight on your chest is heavy and invisible, but still so real. In those days, happiness isn't loud or bright. It's quiet and steady. It's deciding to drink water, to stretch, to take a deep breath. It's choosing to text a friend instead of isolating. It's choosing to go outside even if it's just for a minute. It's refusing to spiral even when the thoughts are trying to pull you under. That's what choosing happiness looks like when you're hurting. It's not Instagram worthy. It's not picture perfect. It's messy. It's raw, but it's real. We live in a culture that sells happiness as something you achieve once everything is perfect, but perfection never comes. There will always be bills, heartbreak, stress, setbacks, people who disappoint you in moments where it feels like everything is falling apart. You wait for everything to align, you'll be waiting forever. Happiness, real happiness, has to be built in spite of the chaos, has to be created in the cracks between pain and healing, between falling apart and standing back up. Choosing happiness doesn't mean your pain goes away. It just means you don't let it consume every corner of your life. It means that even when you're grieving, you allow yourself to laugh. Even when you're overwhelmed, you give yourself permission to feel joy. Even when you're angry or lost, you look for something, anything to hold on to. A sunrise, a good cup of coffee, a kind word, a moment of stillness. These small things matter. They anchor you when everything else feels like it's drifting. People may not understand your journey. They might judge you for smiling while you're struggling, but they don't get to write your story. You do, and you get to decide that your story won't be one of constant suffering. You get to decide that, yes, bad things have happened. Yes, there is pain, but no, that pain won't steal everything from you. It won't take your hope. It won't take your light. It won't take your ability to feel joy again. It takes courage to choose happiness when you're hurting. It takes effort, intention, and a whole lot of patience with yourself. You might not get it right every day. You might fall back into sadness, into doubt, into fear. That's okay. Happiness isn't a finish line. It's a daily practice. Days you'll feel it fully. Other days you'll have to fight for it. But that fight is worth it, because the alternative is giving up. And giving up is never the answer. Not when you come this far. You don't need a perfect past to create a hopeful future. You don't need every wound to be healed before you feel joy again. You don't need everyone to support you, believe in you, or understand you. All you need is to believe that you are worthy of feeling good again, that you are allowed to feel good again. That happiness is not something you earn. It's something you allow, and you can allow it today. When life hurts, you have two choices. You can let the pain control your emotions, your actions, your mindset, or you can feel the pain and still choose actions that create peace. Moments that spark joy, thoughts that lift you instead of sink you. That doesn't mean you never cry. That doesn't mean you ignore the hard stuff. It means balance the hard with hope. It means you give yourself the gift of both honesty and possibility. You are not weak for wanting to feel better. You are not selfish for prioritizing your joy. You are not unrealistic for choosing happiness while still carrying pain. You are resilient. You are powerful. Every time you choose happiness, Even in the smallest way, you are reclaiming your life. This choice, this powerful choice, is how you break cycles. It's how you heal. It's how you remind yourself that no matter how dark it's been, light is still available to you. You deserve to feel it. You deserve to choose it. So choose it. Choose happiness, not because everything is okay, but because you are learning to be okay. One moment, one breath, one brave decision at a time.